I just want to ask you first about this, though. We're 6 months into the war. Today, the U.S. investment rolls out this big sanctions plan. And what the deputy foreign minister, all propaganda aside, from Iran quotes Trump and this administration is saying is true, right? They say that it's decimated and dismantled and, right, that it's totally buried. So it does beg the question about why the need for this right now. So the question is, does this new sanctions plan move the needle?
I wouldn't think so. And also, what is the plan? I mean, we've been building up to this economic D-Day announcement, and the announcement turns out to be more warnings about stuff that we may do to unnamed countries in the future. And so, as you rightly point out, there isn't much left to do other than prevent countries from doing any business at all with Iran. And the number one country that we would be talking about in this situation is China. And Trump has a meeting coming up with Xi Jinping. And I think that's why Secretary Treasury Bessent did not mention any names, because he didn't want to mention China. And it remains to be seen whether the administration is willing to be tough on China, because Trump was not tough on China when he visited Xi Jinping.
Well, right. I mean, also, it's, the whole idea of we're not going to trade with you if you trade with them, it just can't add up when it comes to China, right? That's the situation of the leverage, the trade relationship, but just to be blunt. And Iran is pushing back already, right? The deputy foreign minister calling out the threat, saying it doesn't add up, if Iran's capabilities have been destroyed and dismantled. And you write, because of this war, quote, the dominant power in the region going forward will be Iran, not the United States or Israel's. For years, the world has been dealing with an Iran constrained. It will now discover what Iran unleashed looks like. I mean, Robert, look, that's a stunning thing to say. You look at this over an entire career. But to think that the decisions made in the past few months could lead you to say from the U.S. And Israel being the power players in the region to now it being Iran, that is a pretty stunning thing to say. What leads you to say it now?
Well, and you're right. I mean, it is probably the greatest strategic defeat the United States has suffered since World War II. So, I do think that's why I wrote this, because I do think it's important for people to understand just how much we have lost here. Look, the story was that Iran always had to worry, even though it was somewhat aggressive at many times, but it always had to worry that the United States would come in and launch a sort of devastating attack. Well, now that the United States has launched an attack that was meant to be devastating, and Iran has survived, and now the United States is out of all kinds of munitions, of missiles and defense interceptors, the Iranians know that really the United States does not have a military option right now. And that is the reason why the Trump administration is now trumpeting their economic sanctions. But that's a major retreat, and the Iranians understand it. That means Iran is essentially now going to go forward in substantial control of the Strait of Hormuz, which gives it incredible power to deal with not just the region, and all the Gulf states are now going to have to make their deals with Iran, but also with the rest of the world. Countries like Japan and Korea depend on access to the Gulf energy sources, something like 90 to 95% of their economy. And so what are they going to do now? And what they're going to do is cut their deal with Iran. And that is how Iran is now emerging as a major player in the international system from a position that was incredibly weak just maybe a year and a half ago.
What is interesting, because you're actually saying that the control of the Strait of Hormuz is a more useful instrument of power than a nuclear weapon, which I also think is an incredible thing to say, because you say a nuclear weapon might deter an attack, but control of the strait gives Iran leverage every day over dozens of countries. And this is something that...
That's right.
Well, while you... Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that Iran has already made clear that they will not only charge for transit through the strait, but they will take it upon themselves to decide who gets through and who doesn't get through. They've already said that ships associated with their enemies, meaning at least the United States and Israel, will not be getting through the strait. So all the countries around the world will understand that if they want to be able to get their oil supplies, they're going to have to be friendly to Iran, or at least not hostile to Iran. And that breaks down the whole system of containment of Iran that the United States and Israel and other countries have erected over the years.